Alright, so what's up you guys, it's your boy X and we are back at it again with another Memoria Freese video. So for today, I wanted to critically look at the Familia system that we have in game. This mainly got sparked up when I was talking about the Familia Wargames in my previous video, and I wanted to make another video dedicated to this system in the game because I genuinely believe that it needs a solid upgrade, considering that the implementation of Familia Wargame is making teamwork with your Familia that much more relevant, and just overall Familia activities that require working together with your Familia can be quite hard as of now due to being so restricted regarding our Familia. So to start off from the beginning, I'm pretty sure that everyone that clicked on this video as of now is aware of what the Familia is and what it does. However, I just wanted to go through it quickly. So basically in game you can create your own Familia, which can exist out of a total of 30 people to take on Familia events as a group and collect prizes from those events and earn them by the effort you have gone through together. So for example, if you and your Familia plays at a ranking which earns you 400 iris, then everyone in the Familia is able to get 400 iris. So with that said, it's quite clear that the goal of the Familia system is to actually work as close as you can, so you and your Familia can achieve the best results that you as your group can possibly manage. Which on paper sounds great and doesn't sound bad at all. However, that's not specifically true, and that's why I want to take today's video as an opportunity to cover those flaws in this system. I will also be suggesting potential fixes that I believe would improve the current system to the point where the players could actually manage their Familias way better and have a way better chance at getting together as a group. Considering that a good bit of the Familias that exist out there are complete strangers to each other, and even though they are placing themselves amongst randoms, I'm pretty sure that everyone in the Familia wants to win some iris. So without further ado, I got a few points on the list and let's kick it off from here. Alright, now just before I start off this video, I wanted to say that my own Familia is currently recruiting members who are willing to actively participate in the Familia events and are looking for a good Familia to back them up as well. With the Familia Wargame being introduced, we are looking to ramp up our Familia battle power with some solid players and teams, and we are looking for players with some good sense of the game so we can direct our Familia to victories together. If you are a player with experience in this game and you're looking for a good communicative Familia, then please let me know in the comments down below, or maybe tweet it at me or join the Discord so we can get that fixed right away. With that said, I'll be looking forward to hearing of some of you guys so we can win some prizes together as a Familia. And with that said, let's continue the actual video. So for the first thing that I wanted to point out is that there is actually no way to communicate towards your Familia regardless if you're a leader or a member. If you go to the Familia hub, you see an actions list and overview of what's going on regarding donations members have made towards the Familia, like iris and faith stones, and you have the ability to send over stickers that directly go into your feed. However, there is no real option to chat towards members or anything like it, and since the stickers themselves don't really hold any value as far as communicating goes, it leaves us with the fact that we can't do anything to interact with each other. This quickly leads players to try and find ways around the system to hope someone of their Familia actually catches on, like putting your Discord name in your profile bio or changing your name to read info so it appears in the feed with the hopes that someone will actually read it. But that is mostly done by the players who really want to get together and for example have a group chat, and I wouldn't particularly say that that's the most common thing to see. However, it's not too strange to think that players actually want to do better in events. So considering these are the things players are reaching out to just to have a small bit of hope to get some sort of connection in something that is meant to function as a group system, with a game that asks for teamwork as far as events go, this seems rather odd and severely lacking and quite contradicting if anything. So what can we do to improve interaction? First thing that will come to mind is of course the chat option. However, I personally don't think that that's the way to go, mainly because if that were the case and we will get the chat system implemented, I'm pretty sure that within a week or so the game will be completely infiltrated with spam messages and all sorts of content that players don't need to get pushed down their throat. So if we take the chat function out of the question, I think the best way to solve things will be a simple standard message system. A system that you can use to send over short and compact messages, and also being able to direct these messages at specific players. A simple message like "have you tried out this new event yet?" which would be directed at said player could in my opinion help the players and the Familia team leaders a lot, because with this they would have an option to actually have simplified contact with the members within the group and neutralizes the potential of having spam all over the place. And to make sure these messages reach out to the people in question, I think it will be a good idea to have notifications for these pings in your Familia chat as well, because chances are that if there are no notifications or anything like it, some players might not catch on quick enough and the messages wouldn't really get through on time. So a simple solution like a red notification mark, which the game uses already plenty all over the place, would be hard to ignore and would likely end up in having players to check out what is said. I think this alone would already be a major improvement and could be a big helping hand for those who aren't in a Familia with people that they know or have contact with, without having to do stuff like changing names and info just to pray that someone might catch on. So with that in mind, I actually want to move over over to the second node that I've listed, and I want to take a look at the current Familia settings that we have available to us and my idea on how to improve that as well. So if we take a look at the options that we have right now, you'll quickly realize that it's extremely limited and doesn't really help out when it comes down to appealing or looking for certain players. So to go through the options that we have the option to change our Familia name. We have a small description room where you could write something down about your Familia as well, and for the last two options you can actually choose for a certain style that is supposed to represent the type of Familia that you are, like serious players or slow paced players. And the last and most unnecessary option in my opinion is the active hours, where you can choose which are supposed to be the hours that your Familia is active. You can also set your Familia on open and private, and on open means that anyone can join, and on private means that people actually need to request before being able to join your Familia. Now you can argue that the style option could be used as a way to identify yourself and your Familia, but by putting yourself up as serious players won't always mean that your Familia will only be joined by decent players. This could very well mean that someone with a level 10 account joins your Familia with the idea of being serious but end up doing absolutely nothing for the Familia itself. And that's where I would like to propose the idea of a more specific and in-depth Familia system, where you could have settings like level requirements to avoid having players that aren't in your target group joining in. A function where you can actually set a certain level requirement for players to be before they can actually join in will be quite handy if you're looking for more experienced players to join in your Familia, so you know when a player joins in they actually have a good grasp of the game itself. A requirement like a certain amount of events entered could be useful to specifically assure yourself that any newcomer to your Familia actually plays the events that get pushed out by the game. This way it's way more reliable to count on those players that join in your Familia and the fact that they will actually partake in those events as well. And maybe for those who are aiming to be a rather high profile Familia, the option of having a requirement on a certain rank placement on events like, let's say, a top 500 in Wreckabus or a Wargame could come in handy too, since I know a lot of players who aim to be in high profile Familia tend to ask certain ranking requirements before being taken into consideration. These are just a few ideas quickly out of my head that I'd like to see implemented, which could help sorting out who joins your Familia and who is able to join at that. If you put your Familia on open as of now, you need to skim through to have a look at who joined and what he has in store for you, and with these requirement options that will be way more assuring, knowing that said players that do join does meet the requirements set by your Familia. You could of course close off your Familia, however I do have a feeling that it would rather lead to people just skipping over your Familia instead of attempting to join. And since we are already on the topic for looking for certain members, I think a function where Familia leaders could search for players that don't have a Familia yet and are looking for them will be quite benefiting as well. Familia leaders being able to scout those players will be quite cool to have, because as of now there's no real way to invite players over to your Familia in game, which I think should definitely be a thing already in the game considering how competitive Familia related business can get. And just like I mentioned before, if you can somehow filter these players by certain search filters like player rank, that will make things a lot easier than it currently is for both sides on this story. As a player you can easily find a Familia that meets your play behavior this way, and as a Familia leader it will be way easier to scout players manually, and having the door open for those who actually meet the requirements that you're looking for is quite a problem solver as well. And with these ideas in mind, I think it would have quite a solid impact on how Familias work and how the game wants it to work, which is currently not being supported by the game at all. And it's not like we don't have the space for these options as well, since most of what is stated in the video could be patched into the current Familia system that already is around. And as far as the player scouting goes, I think the function could easily be fit in the current friend spot, because from personal experience I have hardly seen players use this, and the system overall could definitely get more use out of it, since as it stands it's mostly collecting dust by most players. And now that I think about it, don't hold my words on this completely, but I don't even think there's any way in game as of now to even figure out any ideas of players that you might want to add to your friend list, so it's quite ridiculous if you think about it. Now with all these things mentioned, let me know down below in the comments if you agree or disagree with what I said so far, and let me know why as well. Perhaps any of the guys that are watching this video right now have a great idea on how to improve this system as well, and I'd love to hear what you guys might have to say about that. So leave those comments down below and I'll make sure to read them. And with that all out the way, it's time to end this video, so stay blessed and stay happy, and I'm out. Peace.